Barron on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC. Call Jersey Central at 732-545-9282. Toll free at 888-545-9282. Watch Jersey Central live online at WCTCAM.com or listen on your smartphone with the iHeartRadio or TuneIn apps. Connect with WCTC on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube by searching 1450 WCTC. And now back to Jersey's Morning Show, Jersey Central with Bert Barron.
It's 7:38, so we're back on Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. It is Bert. Good morning to you. Contest still to come, family 4-pack of race vouchers to RPM Raceway in Jersey City. You'll have a chance to win that coming up and race your way on in 2018. And we'll give you the chance to win that coming up. My guest on the Jersey Central Newsmaker Hotline is the president of the Environmental Defense Fund. His name is Fred Krupp, and he's here to talk about something that is going on that is involving an energy provider in our state and also some nuclear plants that are still in operation in our state and a rather sizable payout. And there seems like there's some lack of transparency that goes along with this. And let me bring on Fred Krupp to talk about what exactly is going on here. Fred, good morning. It's Bert Barron. Welcome to WCTC. How you doing?
Great. Good to be with you, Bert.
Good to talk to you. And I know this is kind of a crazy week. A lot of people on vacations and out of town and whatnot, but this is a pretty important thing that's going on here. Talk about, if you would, I think when people of New Jersey, when they hear the term nuclear energy, they think about two things: 3 Mile Island and a meltdown that happened in Japan after an earthquake. But residents of New Jersey rely on nuclear plants and nuclear power really on a daily basis, right?
That's true. Almost half the power in New Jersey is provided by nuclear power, and it's clean power. A lot more, also a significant amount, about the same amount, comes from natural gas plants. In recent years, it's actually been a little bit more. But it's a big source of electricity for all those who live in New Jersey, and we all need electricity.
So why are the residents of New Jersey, to the best of your knowledge, why are we facing this required payout? And it seems like an open-ended deal where we're going to be on the hook for about $300 million a year with regards to one of the energy providers in our state and nuclear power. Talk about how this all kind of connects.
Well, it starts out with a legitimate concern of PSEG that nuclear plants are having a tougher time competing with the maintenance requirements and with natural gas in our country being cheaper and cheaper. But from that legitimate concern, Bert, things get a little crazy. A bill was introduced last week in the New Jersey legislature, and the company is lobbying for it to be passed next week. So in this big rush with the company keeping all of the financial data secret, it's asking for $300 million a year on into the future to keep the plants open with no showing that it needs this money. Now, Bert, we know from what happened in Illinois a few years ago, where the company came in asking for $500 million a year, that after the books were open and inspected by the legislature, turned out they needed less than $200 million a year. So in this case, the legislature appears to be rushing to consider this without ever requiring a showing of financial need. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, something doesn't add up here. And if this was the real world, I guess you'd call it, Fred, if this were the world of business where somebody was providing a product or service and they just weren't competitive, they would just kind of go out of business and go about their own way and just realize that maybe they're not the best choice for people. If I was a manufacturer of black and white televisions in the day and age of flat screens, I'd probably be out of business rather quickly. What is the worst case scenario if all of a sudden they didn't get this money to maintain these two nuclear plants? Do half the lights in Jersey go out? I'm guessing no.
No. New Jersey is connected to the grid, so New Jersey would just buy its power from, other facilities that could produce it. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's under no circumstances, a case to be made to subsidize it, but I'm saying that we should give the governor-elect, Joe Murphy, a chance to come in, be inaugurated, and figure out what's best. If there is going to be some subsidy, let's not make it excessive. under the current plan that's going to be voted on perhaps as soon as January 4th, Bert, it would cost households in New Jersey an extra $40 a year, potentially forever. So, let's give the new governor a chance to come in and figure out should the plants be closed? Should they be kept open? There may well be ways to keep the plants open at a much lower cost, and also couple this with a way that folks could make their households more energy efficient, lowering their bills that way.
Well, let's hope so. Governor-elect Murphy, he seems like he's got a pretty open mind on a lot of things, Fred. We just wrapped up a bear hunt here in New Jersey, and he said, all right, no more bear hunt until we realize, let's do some research and see if this is a viable thing to do going forward. And I hope that he has sort of an open mind when it comes to something like this. Now, let me ask you, too, about this $300 million a year that New Jersey residents would pay, basically on a year after year after year after year basis. We have four players when it comes to energy provision and providing power here in New Jersey. PSEG is just one of the four. If you are not a PSEG customer, are you still on the hook for a percentage of this money?
Well, as I understand it, yes. The Board of Public Utilities, the BPU, which is very understaffed, doesn't have the resources to undertake this program, would set up a program where utilities would have to buy these credits that are being set up. Bert, when I listen to you talk about the stance that Governor-elect Murphy has taken on the bear hunt, I'm thinking that's exactly the stance he should take on this. Let's do some research, get PSEG to open its books, just like what the utilities have done in other states, and then decide, does a subsidy make sense? If so, how should that be structured? Before just rushing to ram this through without ever making the books open for public inspection. The ludicrous thing here, one of many ludicrous things, is that the bill would put the final decision into the Board of Public Utilities, the BPU, in New Jersey, but wouldn't even give the Rate Council, the consumer advocate, access to the information. Something just isn't right about that.
Yeah, there's a problem, because if this was like, rainbows and roses for everybody, Fred, it would be in our face constantly about how great it is for us and how wonderful it is for us. When things kind of happen kind of under the table and rather clandestine, there's something in there that they don't want you to know about, and that's why this is a big red flag for me. Your work with the Environmental Defense Fund, what can you do? Do you have some allies in Trenton that are at least listening to your side of the argument here, Fred?
We do. I'm happy to say that the Natural Resources Defense Council, several other groups have come out and are very concerned about this. So we're going to make our case. There's just a limited number of days, though, Bert.
Yeah.
So I would say, if people listening know their state senator or state representative, it's not too early. It is over the holidays, but this is when the company's trying to sneak this through in the dark and night. So if people could contact their representatives, that would be really, really helpful.
Yeah, that would be. And I'm sure, Fred, with your work with the Environmental Defense Fund, and New Jersey just has, in my opinion, just a horrific history when it comes to protecting our environment. ExxonMobil, if I say those two words to you, you know where I'm going with this $1 billion fine that was levied against them, that they were let off the hook a couple years ago for just a couple $100 million. I think our state's history of dealing with the environment when it comes to energy is horrendous, and I think this would just be another bad decision that of an already sort of awful history.
Well, I grew up in New Jersey, in Verona, New Jersey, and I know the state well. I'd say, Bert, the history is mixed. There's been some really good things done. Governor Kane from New Jersey was tremendous on the environment, was a real leader. But there's been some issues as well, as you point out. So the point is, 2017, we're looking forward to the inauguration of Phil Murphy. The lame duck legislature should not be ramming this through, especially without any demonstration of need on the part of the utility.
Yeah, I agree. Is there an online place, Fred, where maybe people can go, more information about this or the work of the Environmental Defense Fund that people can take a look at?
At edf.org, people can find out about our organization, and there are some in the press release section. There is some material about this. Also, I did publish an op-ed in the Bergen Record just a couple of days ago, so
Okay.
There's some information out there, Bert.
All right, we'll take a look for that. Fred Krupp, President, Environmental Defense Fund, thanks so much for the time this morning, and this is just not fair for New Jersey, and I'm glad you're making some noise about this, but Happy New Year, and hopefully things will kind of go in a direction that's kind of fair and better for everybody. So thank you for your time this morning, Fred. Greatly appreciated.
Bert, thank you for having me on.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Jersey Central traffic and weather time.